Okay, I have to weigh in officially on the whole Officer Crowley, Professor Gates racial saga that's going on in the United States. I have to officially throw in my 2 cents on the whole situation, provide some sanity. But nah, I like what Colin Powell had to say about the situation. But I think he should have put some more emphasis on one point, which I'll get to a little later. First of all, there's no problem with the police investigating a possible crime, which is what the officers were doing. There's no problem with that. The problem is that Officer Crowley establishes that Gates is the homeowner. He's in his own home. And because he can't walk away from Gates talking back to him, he ties up the professor and throws him into a cage, and that's disgusting. Now, Powell said none of this would have happened if there was no argument, and I agree. Apparently Gates was saying he would sue the officer, what have you. He was asking for his badge number, saying things like, what if I went into your mother's home? There is no recording of Gates actually saying these things, so it's his word against the officers. But, you know, there was argument. They both admit to that. So did that help? No, it didn't. But at the same time, it's called professionalism. It's called leadership. And the way Colin Powell said it was that there should have been some adult supervision on to intervene on the officer, step in and say that unless someone's a physical threat, you don't abduct them from their own home, tie them up, and throw them into a cage. That's unacceptable. It was about flexing power. And since the officer had more power in that situation, he had more responsibility. And so finally, the end result of the fiasco falls squarely on the officer. That's the bottom line. Now, as far as the president speaking on the situation, they want to act like he said something controversial. And the reason they cite it is because he said he didn't have all the facts. Well, they need to take that up with the DA who dismissed the charges in the first place because they were so weak. You know what I'm saying? The union, the police officers union or whatever, held a press conference and they were getting mad at everybody, but they didn't mention the DA. You know, Al Sharpton pointed that out. You know, so I mean, they need to take that up with the DA, and the president knew that the district attorney dropped the charges because they were weak. He knew that much. Now, throughout the whole video, I haven't really addressed the racial components because this, I think, has more to do with how authoritarian some officers might feel and how arrogant they can be in general. But I will point out a few funny things. First of all, everyone thought that the woman that called the police in the first place was complaining about black suspects. It was complaining about black people. And she was all upset. She was like, oh my God. She was like crying. People think I'm racist. But she actually didn't complain about any black people in the phone call, to her credit. But do you know why everybody thought that though? Because the police report said so. And the police report was written by Crowley. And Crowley is the supposed leader in the precinct on race relations. Yeah, well after the incident, the first interview he does, he goes, not many things are certain, but one thing's for sure, I'm not going to apologize. And then in his second interview, he blurts out, I didn't vote for Obama. Nobody even asked him that in the interview. But, you know, fast forward to the beer summit, I must say that I was pleased with everyone's comments at that point. But the White House better have something up their sleeve, because you could look at that dude and you could tell he wants to be the next Joe Plumber, as in the next dumbass. But hopefully after all this we can move on to something that will really help, you know, the black community, and it's something I think everybody can unite on. And I haven't heard much talk about it at all, which is a shame, and that is dismantling the prison industrial complex that we have in this country. prison is big business, and it's ridiculous. So think about that. Thanks.